Real Madrid are making serious moves this summer. Real Madrid are not messing about. If you thought after 2 seasons of consecutive back-to-back trophyless seasons that Real Madrid would rest on their laurels and go again, think again. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. If you're a returning member, welcome back. If you guys enjoy the content you're seeing on the channel, like, comment, subscribe, engage, hype the videos. Algorithms. I don't know how many times I need to say this. The only way this channel can continue to grow, the only way this channel can continue to improve its content is if you guys support the channel. If you like what you're seeing, please get involved. It's free. I want to cast your mind back to 2024. After Real Madrid won their second Champions League in, about 3 years, after winning it with Benzema in that incredible season where it seemed like irrespective of how poorly they played, irrespective of how much better the opposition were, Real Madrid just found a way. And then the second season, once again, with Vinicius Jr. and Jude Bellingham at the tip of the diamond, driving that team to a second Champions League title in just as in very few years. You cast your mind back to that time, Real Madrid were on top of the world. They just signed Kylian Mbappe, the best player in the world at that time. And it felt like Real Madrid were about to dominate Spanish and European football for many years to come. Ultimately, in the 2 years since that time, that is not how it's panned out. In fact, Real Madrid have gone the complete opposite direction and have not won a single major trophy barring the Super Cup and I think it's like the Intercontinental Cup because it's not the FIFA Club World Cup anymore. But all intents and purposes, they haven't won anything major since Kylian Mbappe came. And there's been a lot of scrutiny, there's been a lot of criticism, there's been a lot of noise around the football club, and it's felt as though Real Madrid going into this third season with Kylian Mbappe at the club, they needed to make a change. They needed to make huge ramifications to this squad if they wanted to compete with Lamine Yamal, Hansi Flick, and Barcelona in Spain, as well as with everybody else in the European game. And what they're doing this summer is exactly that. Now, I want to caveat everything I'm about to say by the idea that people will come and say, oh, well, when they signed Mbappe, Barcelona fans were worried then, or they told us we should be worried, and we went on to do what we've done. This feels different, man. And I'll tell you exactly why. And I will also say, just because Real Madrid have made these signings doesn't mean I think Barcelona will not do anything in this upcoming season. We'll come to talk about Barcelona in another video. But this video is for Real Madrid because the signings Real Madrid have made or are in the workings of making, I have to put my hands up. You look at the 3 signings they made before the World Cup: Denzel Dumfries, Ibrahim Konate, and Marco Correa. A left back, a center back, and a right back to pair the left back, center back, and right back they bought last summer in Alvaro Carreras, Dean Huijsen, Trent Alexander-Arnold. But you look at all 3 of those players they bought this summer, they're very different to those ones they bought last year. Very, very different. Alvaro Carreras didn't have a great season in his debut campaign. Dean Huijsen likewise. He started off pretty poorly, grew into the season as it went on, but struggled with injuries and then didn't get called up for the World Cup national team. Or for the national team for the World Cup. And it's been a stop-starty time at Real Madrid so far. And then in the right back position, Trent Alexander-Arnold likewise suffered with a lot of injuries, didn't get called up for the World Cup. And you know the deficiencies that Trent has in his game. But with the introduction of Dumfries, you have a fullback who is strong, he's physical, he can sometimes even play as a third center back. He's incredibly dynamic going forward. He's not the best going the other way, but he's definitely better than Trent. And in those big games against elite wingers, maybe he's somebody you look at as an alternative to Trent Alexander-Arnold. He maybe doesn't give you as much quality on the ball, but he will give you that assuredness going back. You look at Marco Correa, now a World Cup winner, and a left back, in my opinion, that as I've said in my last few videos, I still don't understand why Barcelona allowed this guy to move to Real Madrid with no fight whatsoever. Because you look at Barcelona's consideration or Barcelona's situation with Alejandro Balde, he's not a great left back in this moment in time. He's really struggling. And now there's rumors that he's suffering with pubalgia. Alejandro Balde's stock has crashed in these last few seasons. And Marco Correa is a La Masia product. Barcelona born and bred. And Barcelona just let him go. Barcelona just let him go. And they said it was 50 or 60 million. That's a steal in today's market. A left back who knows what he is. A left back who locks up elite defenders or elite attackers in majority of the games that he plays, and he rises to the occasion, Marco Correa. He may not give you that consistent elite level throughout the season, but you know in the big games, Marco Correa is going to perform. And he did it at the World Cup. He's done it for Chelsea in Champions League. He's done it for Chelsea in the Club World Cup. You've seen that elite level from Marco Correa, both at Spain as well as at Chelsea. And Ibrahim Konate had a really, really, really poor season at Liverpool, but Everybody had a poor season at Liverpool last year, in my opinion. I think the only player last season who could really hold his head up is probably Dominic Szoboszlai. Everybody else at Liverpool last year had a poor season under Arne Slot. Whether that poor form is going to transfer to Real Madrid, we don't know. We'll have to see. But I think when you're signing a center back like Ibrahim Konate, who's as assured in the game as he is, who's as young as he is, I think Ibrahim Konate is only about 25, 26 years old, if I remember correctly. And you're getting him for free. Albeit, let's say it doesn't work out. Yes, you're paying him high wages because you didn't have to pay a transfer fee to get him. But if it doesn't work out, you let him walk. Or you probably sell him for a cut price fee that you're going to make a profit on regardless because you didn't pay any money for him. And you look at that center back position for Real Madrid, it's a position, in my opinion, that they've needed to rejuvenate for years now. Rudiger is completely washed. Eder Militao, as young and as quality as he is when he does play, the guy can't stay fit. And the problem with Militao is it's not that he's unfit and he's getting niggling injuries here and there. You know, sometimes you can get a hamstring or you get an ankle injury. This guy is getting ACL injuries. He's getting Achilles injuries. He's getting injuries that are sidelining him for 5 to 6 months every single time. The guy's completely washed. I think David Alaba, finally, his contract expired at Real Madrid after years of paying him over the odds because they signed him on another free transfer. And you look at those three players they've signed there. You've got a left back, a center back, and a right back who are all assured. They know what they are. They've got a bit of experience in the game, and they're going to bring quality depth, whether it's instead of Dean Huijsen or with Dean Huijsen, whether it's instead of Trent Alexander-Arnold or with Trent Alexander-Arnold. It's going to be very interesting to see with Real Madrid. But that's on all the players they've already signed. Now you start to talk about the players that they could sign. Guys, I said at the start, Barcelona, right? We'll do our own thing. We shouldn't be scared of Real Madrid. We shouldn't be worried of what Real Madrid is doing. Focus on what you're doing, right? Focus on your own work. But guys, this could be scary. Real Madrid are looking at Rodri as an actual option for them in the midfield. And yes, we talked about Kylian Mbappe and that signing and how many people thought that was the end for Barcelona in terms of challenging at the top of Spanish and European football. But guys, Rodri is exactly what Real Madrid need. He is exactly what Real Madrid need. And that's before I even talk about Bernardo Silva, who came in on the free as well. I hope they're not looking to play him as a winger because his days as a winger are completely and utterly behind him. I think playing him in the midfield is a lot more assured. He gives you something similar to Arda Güler, but at a much, 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 much higher level. And he's just going to be a bit of dynamism and energy in the midfield. I think you don't need him to be as dynamic or as energetic as he was 5-10 years ago because this is La Liga. It's not the Premier League. And he showed at Manchester City last year towards the end of the season that he still has incredible level. That technical ability never leaves you. That IQ, the way you understand the game, it never leaves you as a footballer. And then you have Rodri that could potentially be coming in. And there was a lot of murmurs about whether Rodri would be somebody that Real Madrid would go for. Rodri seems like every single time he gets asked, the guy is pretty much dancing for Real Madrid. He's just dancing for them, right? He's coming out in interviews and he's literally putting himself on the shopping market. He's telling them, I'm here, please come for me. It's frankly, at times it's been embarrassing, but I mean, the guy wants to go. He's seen the Manchester City project. Now that Pep Guardiola stepped aside, probably coming towards its end. Enzo Maresca coming in. There's a lot of uncertainty surrounding the club. He's already achieved everything he wants to achieve in England at Manchester City. Probably wants a new fresh start. And being a native Madrid-born player, of course, played with Atletico Madrid in his younger days, Real Madrid makes the most sense. And now Florentino Perez has actually come around to the idea of negotiating for a player like Rodri. Perhaps he had doubts about his injury records. Now we're saying that Rodri is going for back surgery that might sideline him for a few months. Of course, the age of Rodri, getting to that older age of his career where perhaps he might start to decline. But you saw it at the World Cup. This guy doesn't look like a player, despite the injuries he suffered, despite the age he's getting to, he doesn't look like a player that's slowing down anytime soon. Though I will say international football is a lot slower than club football. So maybe that transfer of tempo setting might not be as fluid as Real Madrid would hope. But I think this is a player that Real Madrid desperately need. Ever since Luka Modric stepped aside, ever since Toni Kroos stepped aside, I look at the midfielders that Real Madrid have. Me and my Barcelona friends, we like to call them roadrunners. None of these guys know how to control a game of football. Every time Barcelona play against Real Madrid, I'm comfortable because I know they don't have anybody that can control the game. At least back in those days when Barcelona used to play against Real Madrid, you knew you were coming up against Toni Kroos, Casemiro, Luka Modric. Yes, they had a destroyer in Casemiro, but You had two tempo setters in Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. Now their entire midfield is just Casemiro's. Camavinga, we still don't know what his best position is. Tchouaméni has not improved since he signed for Real Madrid. Valverde, he shows you good qualities here and there from time to time, but he's another player who's stagnated. He's another player who doesn't really know what his best position is. He's another player who cannot control a game of football. And Jude Bellingham, likewise. Yes, he does really good in the attacking areas. He scores goals, he gets assists. But if you're expecting Jude Bellingham to control a game of football for you, I have a bridge to sell you. I genuinely have a bridge to sell you. So the only player in their team that even resembles a controller is Arda Güler or Dani Ceballos. And Arda Güler just doesn't have that quality. He just doesn't, right? He's not at the level to be controlling games of football at the highest level. Perhaps against lower level oppositions, yes, he can do that. But when you're playing against the Barcelonas, the Champions League elite level clubs, he can't hack it. And Dani Ceballos, the less said about him, the better. So I think this is a huge signing in the right direction for Real Madrid. A player who sometimes can literally command a midfield on his own. Sometimes can literally run games on his own. He can play as the 6. He can play as the 8. He can play box to box. He can sit right in front of the defense. He keeps the ball incredibly well. And now when you're coming up against these teams who can definitely keep the ball a lot better than Real Madrid, we saw it against Bayern Munich. We've seen it against Barcelona time and time again. You can actually start to lay your marker in the game a little bit more. You can actually start to do that, and you don't just have to play counter-attacking football every single time you play against a team that can pass 5 passes in a row. Maybe you can actually start to do that. So I think Rodri is a great signing for Real Madrid if they get it done. As a Barcelona fan, I hope they don't get it done. I'm praying they don't get it done. But it's looking more and more likely like that's a deal that's going to be sealed. But Real Madrid are not stopping there. They are not stopping there. Next, you're hearing murmurs about Yan Diomande. Oh my goodness. Barcelona, we need to lock in, man. Barcelona, we need to lock in. Our mates are outside. Our mates are going to Harvard. Our mates are going to MIT. What are you going to do about it? They don't believe in you. They don't believe in you, Barcelona. What are you going to do about it? Hansi Flick. Because now you're looking at Yan Diomande and there's murmurs about him playing on the right. He's a player who can play both on the left, both on the right. He's incredibly two-footed, very, very dynamic, very direct. I wonder what's going to happen now with Brahim Diaz and Mastantuono, a player they literally signed last year for, what was it, 65 million euros. What's going to happen with him? Same thing with the Rodri situation. What's going to happen to Camavinga? What's going to happen to Tchouaméni? What's going to happen to these players? Are all of them just going to stay at the club at the same time? I doubt that's going to be the case. But with Diomande potentially coming in, you're hearing rumors that 100 million pounds, I don't even think it was a rumor, 100 million euro fee was rejected by Leipzig and they're looking for upwards of 100 million. PSG are also courting the Ivorian man. And it would be a great signing for Real Madrid. I think it adds a lot more balance to this team that's really struggled to find that balance with Vinicius Jr. and Kylian Mbappe in the attacking areas. Jude Bellingham, likewise, who likes to veer to that left-hand side of the field. It's too left-centric. And I think Diomande is one of those players, if he was to come in at Real Madrid, he doesn't expect it to be about him. He doesn't expect the team to be Yan Diomande's team. He knows that he's playing to players better than him, more experienced than him, bigger than him in the game. And I think a player like Kylian Mbappe would really thrive in that sort of dynamic. So him coming in, Yan Diomande being an option, of course, now you're seeing that the Elise rumors are starting to die out. And I always believed that was a signing that, even for Real Madrid, that was a bit ambitious, if I'm being completely honest. But with Yan Diomande being courted as the next best available option, perhaps you have somebody on that right-hand side. Of course, Rodrigo is out with an ACL for a long time, and I think that's an injury that's probably going to deter his career for the rest of it. Hopefully, you'd hope that he can get back to his best level, but those sort of injuries don't always resonate well in players such as Rodrigo, players who change directions very quickly, very, very, very fast, very dynamic, have that burst of pace. They struggle to recover from that. So I don't expect him to come back at any level near what he was before the injury. But the other man, the other Brazilian that we need to talk about is Vinicius Jr. And amidst all these incomings, amidst all these potential signings, potential transfers into the club, we have to talk about potential exits. And this summer, there's been murmurs that Real Madrid will have one big exit, one big, painful, unexpected exit. And this morning, I wake up, it's the weekend, I'm chilling in my house, and I see an Ornstein Bombazo. Ornstein Bombazo. And I don't want to misquote David Ornstein. I remember, I'm going to speak very tentatively because, of course, this is not anything that's official. but it seems as though Arsenal are exploring a deal for Vinicius Jr. And we all know why this is the case. For me, this whole rumor surrounding Vinicius Jr. and Arsenal could be one of two things. It could either be one, Vinicius Jr. is using this as an opportunity to send a message to the Real Madrid board, send a message to the administration that I'm more than happy to go anywhere else if you won't give me what I want. And we know what he wants. He wants Kylian Mbappe money. He wants Cristiano Ronaldo money. He wants a pay rise, which he's been battling for the last 2 years and was promised to him. We've been told, allegedly, it's been promised to him by Florentino Perez after they won that second Champions League in which Vinicius was once again on the score sheet. And after those incredible performances and potentially being snubbed of the Ballon d'Or from a player that's probably going to come into the football club this very upcoming season, Vinicius wanted his money and Real Madrid still have not given it to him. And now perhaps he's exploring his options. Perhaps he might be looking at a move to the Premier League champions, might I add. Or could this just be a ploy from him, his agent, and his camp to put Real Madrid under a bit of pressure and up that contract, up that salary, up that wage? It could be one of the two, but I want to explore the former. If this is Arsenal genuinely walking into the Santiago Bernabeu offices and telling Florentino Perez, brother, we want Vinicius, I'll look at Arsenal in a whole new light. I'm telling you guys now for free. I will look at Arsenal in a whole new light. Because one thing I said it in my video on Morgan Rogers. I didn't think it was a great signing for Arsenal because he doesn't really fix anything, in my opinion, that Arsenal struggle with. You already have a player like Eze who's very similar to him. I've always said I think Arsenal desperately need X-factor players in the attacking areas of the pitch, whether that's a striker, whether that's a left winger or a right winger. And Vinicius Jr. is the peak of what that illustration is. If you go and get a player like Vinicius Jr. paired with that incredible defense we saw last year, with that hard-working midfield, we saw Arsenal get to a Champions League final last year and win the Premier League pretty comfortably, in my opinion. In my opinion, the only reason there was a title race was because Arsenal made their one. We could see Arsenal generally form a dynasty these upcoming years if they go and get a player like Vinicius. You're seeing them rumored with Bruno Guimaraes as well, a signing that's kind of fallen away these last few weeks. Linked with a Julian Alvarez likewise. But if they go out and get Vinicius Jr., if these rumors are what they seem to be from David Ornstein, mate. Real Madrid will be losing a huge man. And we'll come to talk about the implications of that departure for them, whether that's if it even goes on to happen. But for Arsenal, your biggest title rivals from last year have lost their generational manager. They've lost their Ballon d'Or winner and midfield key man. And you're about to get, in my opinion, the best left winger in world football. Arteta, I will be seated. But on the topic on the implications for Real Madrid, Vinicius' possible departure, I think this is just telling you that, I think even just the rumors just tell you once again, Florentino Perez has chosen Kylian Mbappe as the A side. I, for one, do not believe that this is a partnership that can ever work. Real Madrid having both Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. But I think if you had any doubts about which one of the two the club was favoring, I think the World Cup, those performances by Kylian Mbappe in this World Cup, as well as these rumors you're starting to hear, the fact that Real Madrid are unwilling to bend to Vinicius' demand for his wages tells you everything you need to know. And these are rumors we've heard for about the last 6 to 12 months that Vinicius could possibly leave the club. But the only thing that I keep on saying is who will give him the money that he wants. Because Arsenal will definitely not give him that money that he's looking for. The guy's looking for basically £500,000, €500,000 a week. They're paying Bukayo Saka £300,000. And even that, a lot of people will tell you, is blasphemous. Kai Havertz is getting paid about $350. If Vinicius Jr. walks into Arsenal and sees Bukayo Saka and Kai Havertz getting £300 a week, £300,000 a week, he can generally come in there and say, I deserve £600,000 a week. Because Vinicius Jr. is double the player Kai Havertz is. Vinicius Jr. in this moment in time is double the player Bukayo Saka is. So are Arsenal going to give him that sort of money? I don't believe so. But what all these transfers mean, what all of this points to, is that this is now Kylian Mbappe's team. If all these transfers go through, we'll have to wait and see. I think the Rodri transfer will go through. The Vinicius one, it could be a drawn-out saga throughout the summer, though I still believe he will probably end up staying. But Real Madrid have made it clear they're not going to let him go for free. So if Vinicius doesn't sign the transfer or doesn't sign the contract that Real Madrid are giving him, he's probably going to have to leave, even though he deep in his heart might not want to. We'll have to wait and see. But as I was saying, I think this is now Kylian Mbappe's team. And Kylian Mbappe, I love him as a footballer. Genuinely, it breaks my heart that he plays for Real Madrid because I actively have to support the opposition. I actively have to root against him. I mean, watching him at the World Cup was a breath of fresh air because I could genuinely watch him without any strings attached until he played against Spain. But guys, now it's Kylian Mbappe's team. And that's even more pressure on Kylian Mbappe. Because Vinicius Jr., the man that, I won't say they're kicking him out, but the player that might leave the club, he won you 2 Champions Leagues. He scored in 2 Champions League finals. He was there throughout the poor seasons post Zinedine Zidane, post Cristiano Ronaldo, growing into it past Lopetegui. I think it was past Scaloni. I can't remember the name of the manager. That manager they had, I think it was Scaloni or Scolari. I can't particularly remember his name. And then you had Zidane again. He was there throughout all of that. And he grew as a player throughout all of that. And he paid back every single euro they paid for him in 2 separate Champions League finals, being one of the best players in the world for about 4 to 5 years. And now a man from PSG has come in, taken his, in his mind, his contract, has done nothing to justify it, and he's going to have to leave the club now because of him. There is infinite pressure on Kylian Mbappe because now this is your team and you have to deliver, my friend. You have to deliver. There is no excuses now that, oh, Vinicius is in my way. I don't have the players I need around me. The squad is imbalanced. Because the previous years, you can make those excuses, in my opinion. When Kylian Mbappe was scoring 40, 50, 60 goals a season and Real Madrid were still losing every single game, Real Madrid were still getting knocked out in the Champions League, you could say, oh, there's no balance in this team. They're struggling in other areas of the field. It's not Mbappe's fault. If they make the signings that they're looking to make, if they go and get a right winger in Diomande, if they go and get a tempo controller in Bernardo, in Rodri, and then go and get proper defenders like they have so far, there's no more excuses, brother. I can't defend you anymore. You're in the hands of God now. This is a PSA. Hansi Flick, Deco, Joan Laporta, FC Barcelona, Lamine Yamal, Wojciech Szczesny. If you are watching this video, you guys must rise. I believe you guys will rise. Because I think one thing Barcelona have is they have a group of young players that continue to improve every single year. Players like Lamine, players like Fermin, players like Gavi, who's coming back from injury, players like Bernal, Kubarsi, Jean Garcia. We're continuing to improve every single year, those players. So sometimes it can feel like you have new signings because they're reaching a level that you've never seen them hit before. But there are deficiencies in our squad. Barcelona must address those deficiencies because Real Madrid are addressing theirs. Real Madrid are addressing theirs. And if you think it's going to be as easy as it was these last 2 seasons, because in my opinion, beating Real Madrid to the La Liga title was a cakewalk both seasons. If you think it's going to be that easy next season, not to even mention, I've been recording for about 20 minutes now, and I still haven't even mentioned Jose Mourinho. Might not be in his pomp tactically, but this is a manager who still knows how to control the narrative. This is a manager who still knows how to control the media. This is a manager who still knows how to speak. Barcelona, you better be ready. I'm ready. But are you guys ready? Because back-to-back trophyless seasons, Real Madrid are coming back with a vengeance. I hope we're ready to take them on. But that's all I have for today, guys. I'm so interested to hear all your thoughts. We've talked about so much today. What do you think about the signings that Real Madrid have already made? The defensive signings, Cucurella, Dumfries, Ibrahim Konate. What do you believe about the potential signing of Rodri Hernandez? And what do you think about the potential signing of Yan Diomande? And lastly, Arsenal fans, Real Madrid fans, Premier League fans, what do you think about Real Madrid potentially letting Vinicius Jr. go to Arsenal? A team that already won the Premier League title last year could be getting even better. Let me know all that and a whole lot more down in the comment section. Engage, engage, engage. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and goodbye.